Should you sell your home for sale by owner? I know that you guys have been thinking about this. Maybe you've gone through 3 or 4 real estate transactions in your lifetime already, and you're saying, yes, I have the experience to represent myself. I want to put the sign on the yard. I want to do all the things and save on real estate commissions. You're whipping out the calculator. You're like, oh yeah, the time that I need to put into this is worth it. And listen, I'm here to tell you, even though this is how I pay my bills and feed my family, I'm here to tell you that yes, you may have the personality to do a successful FSBO. So today, we are diving into the steps that you need to complete to make sure that if you choose this route, you are doing it properly, and most of all, you are not leaving any money on the table. So let's dig in and see if this path is for you. So here's the deal, everybody. It is risky to go into a legal transaction unrepresented. We know this, right? I just have to say that off the top here because sometimes we can't see the forest through the trees. So it's risky. If you're willing to take on that risk, then let's dig deeper on how to do that successfully. I know that this is a tough market, especially for sellers. So navigating real estate commissions could be advantageous for you. So I want to make sure that we follow certain steps that we're going to lay out. We have tons of resources on this channel to help you prepare your home for market. We talk about how to stage your property well. We talk about what color paint is most effective in a buyer's eyes, and it'll get you more money. Also, we talk about the timeline on how long it takes to get your home ready before you hit the market. So make sure you sit back, you relax, you peruse, and you'll get all the information you need to make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table. All right, are you ready? Let's dig into the steps for you to complete a FSBO transaction successfully. You want to make sure you line up a title company or a real estate attorney, depending on your state, and they will walk you through the transaction to make sure that the title is not clouded. They will also record your documents appropriately with the county and states. Very important step. Take professional real estate photos of your home. Guys, this is such a big deal, and let me tell you why. So buyers nowadays are the young people who have been used to technology their whole lives. They probably will know more about your property than you do because they not only know your address and everything that has happened at your particular home, but they also know the history of your neighbor on your left side and the neighbor on your right side. They know the statistics of your community, how fast homes are selling. And if they're working with a savvy real estate agent, then they already know the level of depreciation for your area and also the level of appreciation for your area. So these are the kind of things that everybody is looking at when they ultimately craft an offer for your property. If you can, purchase drone photography of your home so that everybody is very clear on what the backyard looks like. Maybe you're showcasing a lake or a pond view, maybe a park that's nearby. Drone photography is well worth the added cost. Next step is to create great copy. It's your time to shine with words. We want to make sure that you not only have great visuals of your property, but now we have to walk people through your property using the words that they're going to read attached to your listing. So don't do this. 2 lines that say great house, great schools, you should move here. No, we want to really hone in on certain aspects of your home that are really a selling point. So what do I mean by this? A couple of things. Number 1, if you have any updates to your property, make sure that you capitalize those updates. For instance, if you have a brand new roof, I want to literally see in the copy, in capital, brand new roof. Creating a marketing strategy for your property is paramount to getting your house sold successfully. And this is a daunting task because gone are the days where you could throw up a for sale sign on your lawn and you get all these phone calls from potential buyers who want to purchase your property. No, The rates are too high for that scenario to work. You want to make sure that you follow the laws. We have federal laws that have guidelines for making sure we are not discriminating against certain types of people. But you also want to make sure that you are in the space talking about your house where potential buyers are. So what kind of spaces am I talking about? Social media, of course. So if you don't have a profile for Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, you have to start making all of those profiles so that you can get the word out about your property. In addition to that type of marketing, there's also the power of word of mouth. Make sure that all of your friends and family know that you're trying to move out of your home. If I was doing this myself and I was going to FSBO my property and I didn't have a license, this is what I would do. I'd put the sign up, I get my marketing materials, I do word of mouth approach, push it out on social media, see if you get any hits. And I would never, ever hire a flat fee broker or agent to put my property on the MLS. Once your home goes onto the MLS, it gets a history attached to it. It shows how long it's been sitting on the market. Buyers agents use that number in their strategy when they are crafting an offer. So if your home is sitting and sitting and sitting for months on end, you're gonna get a lower offer. Give yourself a timeline. How long? Depends on what the market is in your area. In the state of Florida right now, I would give yourself 90 days. If you can't get traction in 90 days, it's time to consider a different approach and possibly hiring an agent. The next step that I really want you to hone in on is what is going to be your answer to the compensation for a buyer's agent? Because here's what's going to happen. One of those people that's going to call you undoubtedly is going to be a buyer's agent. And before they take their client to your house, they want to know, am I getting paid to do so? And that is a tough question in today's market because maybe you don't want to pay a buyer's agent and you don't have to. That is your right as a seller. However, guess where those buyers are going to go if you're not going to pay their agent? More often than not, they're going to be walking to a different house. They're not even going to bother having a showing at your property. So I really want you to be prepared on what your answer is going to be when an agent calls you up and says, hey, just so you know, I have buyers who are ready to see your property. Are you compensating the buyer's agent? Here's another note. Some buyer's agents will also call and say, hey, I have somebody who's wanting to see your property. Are you paying buyer's agents? And then they'll want to meet with you in hopes of getting your listing. The next thing I want you to be prepared for are the influx of phone calls of people wanting to see your house immediately. So you really want to be prepared with a schedule, if you can, of when you are going to be conveniently available to show the home. You have to think to yourself, are you going to be opening the door? Are you going to be leaving a lockbox on the front door or on the side of your house discreetly? How are you going to communicate that to your potential buyer? You want to think about your 5 senses. Not only does the house need to visually look clean and have nothing on the countertops, you want to think about the scent in your home, cover up pet smells that may be lingering in the air. You want it to be fresh versus a scent. Fresh linen scent is usually what I recommend. So now we have clean countertops, we have a great scent in your home. How about daylight? Natural light is key. I want you to pull all of your blinds to show as much daylight as possible. Okay, we are in the final stages. We hopefully have a contract in hand because our house is beautiful with all the showings, and now you're ready to negotiate an offer. So here's the headline when you're on the seller side of an offer. Depending on your state, once you commit to a buyer, that's it. You're in it for the long haul until closing. Unlike the buyer depending on your state, has outs along the way to protect them. One of which is the inspection period. In the state of Florida, you could not like the paint color of one room during your inspection period and you're out. Release and cancellation, the buyer signs that. It's incumbent upon the seller to sign it as well. They get all their escrow money back, depending if it's happening within the inspection timeline. If you get beyond the inspection timeline, now you're in financing. And now you're waiting for that all-elusive appraisal because most offers are financed and not cash. And you want to make sure that when the appraiser comes out to your property, that you have a list of all of your upgrades ready to go. You have a list of all the comps that you pulled to create your pricing strategy for the home, and you present that to the appraiser. Sometimes those little nuances are enough to push your appraisal up in consideration depending on the appraiser. Appraisals are an art and they are not a science, so beware of that as well. Ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever the appraiser says goes. That's the lending is going to be based on the appraisal report and not the comps that you pulled for your property. So be aware of that. The last part is, of course, the closing. And this is where everybody's joyous, right? We have our inspection period that went well, we have our financing period went well, and now you're ready to sign paperwork. But notice throughout this whole journey, which typically takes about 30 days, there's no backsies for the seller. So I hone in on this because as you're fielding offers, you really want to vet who your buyer is. Now, this typically is something that the list agent will do and has a strong skill set to eye fraudulent buyers. So the one thing that I could give you as an action item for this part of the journey is make sure that you get a pre-approval letter along with the offer. They need proof of funds if they're cash, and they need a pre-approval letter, not a pre-qual letter, a pre-approval letter from a lender. And I want you to do something crazy. I want you to Google the lender. I don't want you to get the letter and call the phone number that's on the letter. I want you to independently get to the bank that is on the pre-approval letter. I want you to search for the lender associated with that institution. I want you to call the number that is linked to that profile to make sure that this person actually exists. Okay, you want to independently talk to the lender. Don't go by what's on the letter. Find the lender yourself. Talk to them. Make sure you have a mutual client here and that they have enough funds to put up escrow and also for a down payment and ultimately all the closing costs to seal the deal at closing day. Are you exhausted? I know I threw so much at you in this video, but I really think that if you could dive into each one of these chapters and take notes, then this is how you successfully sell your house for sale by owner. Are you ready to sell that house? You can do it. Yes, I'm here if you have any questions. Until next time, friends.